Hey folks, it's Maxie here and welcome to another TEW2020 video. You join us for our September pay-per-view helping from All Elite Wrestling, and that is AEW Fyter Fest. We're going to go a bit braver here. We're not going to add any boost, no celebrities, no special set, no live bands. We're going to put all the faith in the performers and their, hopefully their good mic skills and their ring ethic. The problem is, a wee bit iffy on the announce team, so that may cost us, but I'm willing to take a risk and see how we go. We can see on the left hand side the 5 matches that are already booked in. I thought we'd actually struggle to book the show, as in the full allocated time. Nope, completely full the card. I don't even think there's any extra matches. Nothing that we didn't mention. Obviously we added Britt Baker versus Hikaru Shida on Dark, but there's a full stack 215 minutes of action, a lot of promos and everything that was promised really, so really looking forward to what's going to go down tonight. So without further ado, we see there was a 37,000 attendance last year, there was an 80 rated show, there was a main event of Moxley versus Pac. Can we top it? Let's find out. So we're in the capital for today's pay-per-view at the Robert F. Kennedy Memorial Stadium in front of just shy of 43,000 fans in attendance. Quickly breezed through the pre-show matches. Miro versus Peter Avalon was a 64, good match up there. Miro winning in 5:35 via submission. We also had a rematch from Dynamite effectively, as Cassie and Sean Spears defeated Michael Nakazawa and Yuki Sakazaki in 9:37 when Cassie pinned Yuka with the Hurricane Rana. This was a 48. I kind of booked this as like Nakazawa's attempt to get revenge for the beatdown, but in the end the Perfect won and her husband pick up the victory. We also had a tag match that had not a lot of heat, terrible wrestling. Ricky Starks and Wardlow, of course, together with MJF. They defeated Tyler Bate and Austin Creed in 12:23 when Wardlow pinned Tyler Bate with Splash Mountain. Just continue to get this partnership over. That was a pretty respectable 61 there. Ricky Starks is slowly but surely getting in-ring stuff over, but it's going to take a long period of time, for sure. We then had a match-up between QT Marshall, Colt Cabana, Matt Hardy and Axel Dieter Jr. This sounds very strange because it was kind of put together pretty much just to fulfill a promise, which was Matt Hardy was happy to put Axel Dieter Jr. over. Obviously both are heels, so to make it at least acceptable, with 2 baby faces in a random fatal 4-way. Axel Dieter Jr. pins Matt Hardy, picks up the win, a 52 rated matchup. Big money Matt, putting money on the table, putting people over. Good on him. We then had the Trios Championships on the line again, and we had the team of best friends, Trent Barretta, Chuck Taylor and Orange Cassidy, defeating the Dark Order, Evil Uno, Stu Grayson and John Silver, and the Jurassic Express in 12:27 when Orange Cassidy pinned Marco Stunt with a super kick. So second defence of the Trios Championship, a 61 for the rating there, and a mixture from a 28 from John Silver, although it's improving, and a 74 from Orange Cassidy. So we start the show and we've banged it right out of the park with the 100 segment, as we always do with our kind of hype package. We have Hangman Page, John Moxley, Pac and Sammy Guevara as the 4 that give words. So in this one it's obviously Hangman saying he's going to win his championship back from Pac, but at the same time you've got Pac saying he's scratched his claw, he's wanted this championship ever since they stepped foot into AEW, and the fact he's got his hands on it means he's never ever going to give it up. Moxley and Sammy just talk about that feud, how Moxley says, I've always had issues with Inner Circle. It seems this wee guys came to the fore, and he thinks he can utilise the numbers game on me, but forgets I'm a dangerous man, and I'm more than happy to give Sammy Guevara a beating. So Sammy struggled off script, but everyone else was quite good unscripted. Matt Striker and Tony Schiavone were weak, and the segment did deserve better colour commentary, but we still blasted a 100 rating. Just to warn you, there's a few wrestlers that may be unhappy at the end of this show, so I'll explain why and how I'm going to fix it. We'll see. So first and foremost, with Brian Pillman Jr. and AJ Styles. This was my other promise that I had to use again, basically. And I thought, obviously we've done the match in Dynamite, this was kind of like AJ, I am absolutely determined to get a revenge on Pillman Jr. for the defeat. So we had a decent reaction from the crowd, but subpar wrestling as Brian Pillman Jr. defeats AJ Styles in 10:03 with the Tornado DDT. So AJ comes out of it looking bad again, but at 67 elevates the younger star, and I can move them away from each other because that was just to fulfill the promise. But let me know how you work with the promises. Do you always go for them, or is there some you just leave to protect some stars? Because I know AJ isn't the most over in this save, he's only like 67 over, so he's quite a bit away from like the main event scene, hence why he's never quite ventured to it. And after the match up, AJ is obviously extremely frustrated, and we have a little temper tantrum by the Phenomenal One. So that's a 73. We then had that matchup between Dr. Britt Baker and Hikaru Shida. Unfortunately, still both perceived as pre-show workers, and it was a 32-18 matchup. Despite the 45 and 35 performance, the crowd being turned off kind of hurted a wee bit there. But Britt Baker wins in just under 12 minutes by pinfall. So hopefully that should boost her with a pay-per-view win on the big stage. Then went into the TNT Championship match between Darby Allin and Claudio Castagnoli, and it was a good matchup that saw Darby pick up the win in 14:47 with a coffin drop, meaning that the Dark Order's Darby Allin is your new AEW TNT Champion. Just an 82. It might have been kind of restricted because obviously to get a higher rating than this you need to go longer than 15 minutes, but I gave them 14:47 steal the show. So 82 is still exceptional. Darby with an 88 despite being off his game. Claudio with 65, but the younger talent picks up a good victory. We're backstage and it's basically him just coming back through, greeted by Mr. Brody Lee, who just shakes his hand and says, "This is why we brought you to the Dark Order. We enrich lives, and I'm absolutely proud that you've taken everything I've said and made it work." Sounds so babyface-ish, but you know what Brody would have been like. He'd be like, "Yeah, just do what I fucking tell you," basically. So a 79, delighted. Next up, promo from Cody on his feud with Rey Fenix. Yep, we're having that match this early. Just basically saying how Fenix tried to take him out by attacking him with a ladder. It's good to know that Fenix is really bringing his A game, but Cody wants to prove he's still one of the main guys in All Elite Wrestling, and these guys try and knock him off his perch. It won't be happening on his watch. So 87. Match itself was just a 79, and it was about to have superb wrestling and great heat, and we had Rey Fenix win in 1943 with the Meteora. A 92 from Cody, an 83 from Rey Fenix. As you can imagine, this is one of the ones of his go-to that we had to keep Cody looking strong. Despite Cody looking strong here, he still is very unhappy at losing. So I need to give him maybe 30-40 grand just to keep him in the good books. But I wanted to build a star out of Rey Fenix, and I felt like a big victory, even at the cost of Cody's happiness, was what I had to do, and that's why it is so low down in the card as it is. So a good one for Rey Fenix. We'll see how Cody is. I know Cody in real life would have been quite happy to let that happen, but it's a game for it. Moving along, we had the AEW Women's Championship on the line. It was an abysmal matchup. Toni Storm defeats Abadon in 14:29 by pinfall with a strong 0. Toni Storm makes the first defence of the AEW Women's World title. So she managed to escape the clutches of Abadon. They finally tangled for the championship, and Toni managed to overcome any of the demons from Abadon in a fairly respectable 55 match, because there's still a long way to build up Abadon to get up to the level of Toni Storm, so I'm still fairly happy with that. She goes backstage though, and you can just tell she's kind of like losing her mind and freaking out, and up steps Mr. Brody Lee, and he just says, "I watched that there, it was pretty admirable, but I feel there's one or two things missing, and I think if you join the Dark Order, we can enrich your life, and we can certainly put you on the right path." Abadon looks strange, and then she nods, so she joins the Dark Order alongside obviously Brody Lee and the rest of the group there. So another member for the Dark Order, Abadon. and that's a 57 rated segment. Shayna Baszler is then came to the ring and she says, right Mick, she's not fighting Mick, it's just using for the purpose of this promo. You said that this big superstar, one of two, was going to be debuting here, the other one in a month's time. Well, come on, the fans are sick of waiting, I'm sick of waiting. Who's this amazing superstar that's going to be, you know, cause a threat to me? That's a 73 rated promo. Mick Foley has come out. He has confirmed that the newest signee to All Elite Wrestling, the former Page, the former Britannia Knight, we have signed Saraya to a contract. So, or Saraya, I'll go with Saraya. But at 77, Mick Foley came across well. She came available. Now, the way I've worked around this, I couldn't edit it to make her unretired, but the way I was able to manipulate the contract, she's retired, but she can wrestle. So, and I obviously repaired her neck. So I did say we were going to go with the realms of realism, but yeah, I'm looking forward to using the former Page under the name of Saraya in AEW. And then this leads to Saraya cutting some words here. She debuted the girl next door gimmick, which was awful, which is a shame. But the 63 rating is basically her saying to Shayna Baszler, I'm here, I'm in AEW, and I can't think of a better place to make my in-ring debut than at AEW Knighthood in the United Kingdom, and I'm more than happy to face you in a match there. So straight off the bat, Saraya, Shayna Baszler, 2 weeks time at AEW Knighthood in that exclusive event in the UK. That is going to be absolutely banging. I've decided it won't be like a massive pay-per-view. I've kind of put it as like a lesser show because it's only going to be broadcast in the UK. Well, not even broadcast, it's going to be the UK fans that will see it. And it's going to be mostly like, so like Kip Sabian will get a match, Tyler Bate, Sadie Gibbs, all these ones that are just British, effectively. They'll get the opportunity in 2 weeks' time. So let me know what you think of that. Moving along, we have Sammy Guevara distract John Moxley, and Hager decides to beat him down, so the Inner Circle already beginning the ambush on John Moxley before the matchup, and that's an 82. Good stuff there. And their 2 out of 3 falls matchup was exceptional. Sammy Guevara defeats John Moxley by 2 straight falls. It should have been 2-1, but you can never rig that in this. And the final fall happened when it was 1-1, with a 6:30 falling Jake Hager with more distractions. I generally think this could have been a 90 rated matchup. This could be even close to 100. And I'll give you my reasons why. So, segment is 80. Massive penalties for that lack of psychology. So, Moxley I don't think we'll ever get the psychology stat with, but Sammy Guevara we can work on. So, expect a lot of feuds in the future with him, with guys that have got good psychology, and we can hopefully rub some of that attribute onto him. And the match that they're having better colour commentary will always penalise it by a couple of points, as we've noticed so far. Oh, John, get your wife here as quickly as possible so I've got a good colour commentator. So those penalties, but still I think he's good. It's far exceeded my expectations, and hopefully will make Sammy look like a massive star. Killer Kross makes an elaborate entrance before his match with Chris Jericho. That's a 63. Obviously just with a big presentation to make it look like a big deal. And their matchup will happen after Jericho's promo, which just says this man's trying to make a name off of me. No one makes a name off of Chris Jericho, and he's just going to put him back to the mid-card rookie. That's an 81. And the match itself actually surprised me massively. It was a good matchup. Killer Kross defeats Chris Jericho in 18-20 by submission with the Cross Jacket. So an 80 rated performance here. 86 from Jericho. So the good thing about the change when Adam changed the product is like he can actually work wrestling there Nirvana and it just doesn't completely hinder him. So that's good. And Killer Kross with 64. So the initial plan was to protect Jericho as well. He was still unhappy even with Dominate. So I decided, screw it, we'll just put Kross over straight, no protection, and Jericho was still going to be the same amount unhappy, so we'll look to basically give money to him to try and keep him happy, but I need to build new stars as well if I want to go to 2 brands. So yeah, Killer Kross picks up the victory here. And then, getting ready for a main event, Hangman cuts a promo on Pac. That was an 86, just seeing how he's going to reclaim the championship. This will probably go about a 79 like last time. We'll have a wee look and hope for the best that the commentary team don't ruin it. And wow, it's even worse than the last time. A 73, so we may lose Pop a lot of places. Exceptional matchup. Pac defeats Hangman Page in 23-16 with a shooting star press. He makes the first defence of the world title. Lackey psychology. Match was way shorter than last time, but that, I don't think they had psychology the last time. I need to look at that back. But Match Striker being weak, better colour commentary, and they'll tell me this exceptional matchup would have only been 2 points more than Matt Riddle versus Peter Avalon on Dark. It's interesting because 1 week it's Striker, and 1 week it's Schiavone. But yeah, we really need to hope Renee Young takes that contract and hope her attribute is good enough, or we're going to have to keep looking for another colour commentator. But we end the show. Hangman's time in the main event for the moment is over because someone has stepped up, and it is Will Ospreay. He points at the AEW World Championship, points at Pac. The two of them shake hands, and that is the biggest hint that in AEW Knighthood over in the United Kingdom, Pac versus Will Ospreay for the AEW World Championship. 79, it's our worst show in a while, purely because of the flop main event, so there is some negatives to the main event spotlight. If that doesn't go well, it can make a fantastic show flop. So it loses popularity in the US and Canada, but across the board still very successful. So a wee bit disappointed just with that main event. It's the one thing that still probably gives me that issue is just the commentary side. Obviously I need to try and get some more workers over that have fantastic psychology. That's always been a problem in TW for me. I've always tried to put on great matches without the psychology being there, but I'm still happy with it. As I say, it's going to be a task now to get Jericho and Cody happy again, but hopefully we'll make enough money where we won't be too badly affected. So let's have a look. Fyter Fest, still the vast majority enjoyed it. Nothing else there directly affects us. Size, that's 79. Oh, that's fine. We have to make sure we're about 77. That was still perfectly safe. Although I would like us to maybe just push up a wee bit more, but it's still good. We may have a new signing. Shall we check it out? It is Renee Young. So we'll have Renee Paquette joining our announce team. It's a big contract, but it's a 9-year deal. I know I'm not going to play this for 9 years in the lifespan. If I do a class, but I should be here in 3 weeks' time. So yeah, she'll probably make a debut in the Dynamite before All Out of Control and Killer Kross will come in. I'm going to put him as a babyface at the moment, but that may change. He's in 23 days' time. And of course, someone else popped up that's a really good wrestler, so hopefully we get him in. I'm hoping to eventually stop just saying the WWE folk, but it's always the wrestlers that I want that seem to pop up. So Kairi is back from her injury, so that's good. We'll have Kairi Hojo going forward. Dean Malenko thinks that Tyler Bate is turning into a good worker. 737,000 viewers and just a 0.50 buy rate, so we really need to watch on the pay-per-views because I don't think we're making too much money. The pay-per-view revenue is going down month by month, so that's really worrying. Ticket sales were down a little. To be fair, I think that's one thing that I've never really mentioned, but the economy and the popularity of wrestling are both going down, so that could have the effect on pay-per-view, although the fact that it's nearly like halved. Basically I'm just going to ride out the contracts we're on, and then we'll eventually just go for big networks. We'll be obviously be a much bigger size, but as long as we're still like financially in the white effectively in this, I suppose we're in profit, then aye, as long as we're not in any debt, there's no real issue. I'll worry about that as time goes on. So we'll call it there. Thanks very much for watching. I'm going to go ahead and start preparing for AEW Knighthood, so that'll be in, believe it or not, just 3 episodes time, because 2 episodes of Dynamite, then that. I hope you join us for it. But so we're looking to do a lot more different things with this, with the Impact Wrestling save as well, and hopefully join us for that journey. Until then, to Maxwell, or Maxie, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.